Hey guys, so welcome to the last video of January. That feels weird because 2019's January felt like it went on and on and on for about 3 years or something, and then this January has just kind of been Thanosed away, and that is terrifying. And I'm not even 30 seconds into the video and I'm already going on a tangent about things that don't even have anything to do with the theme of today's video. So at least we're on trend, right? So today's video I wanted to talk about beta readers. So what are beta readers, pros and cons, should you find beta readers yourself, and my personal experience with beta readers. So here we go. Once my hair is not looking terrible today. So first things first, what is a beta reader? Now a beta reader is someone who, say you finished your story. You have finished your story, or you finished a segment of the story and you've decided this is now the time to edit. You do you. I don't know your writing process and I am still figuring out mine, so. But say you have finished something from your story and you've maybe edited it a few times yourself, you've redrafted it, or you've decided, no, I don't want to edit it just yet, I want someone else's opinion first. A beta reader is someone that you send your work off to for them to read and them to edit. No, not necessarily edit. Yeah, it is editing in a way. It's a form of editing. We'll keep calling it editing. They will go over your story and they will point out bits that didn't fit well, what their opinions were of certain scenes, certain characters. They have that fresh view of pretending to be. It's like, say if your story was published in that moment, they would be your first review. They are the ones who look over your work and tell you what they thought as a reader and what works and what doesn't from a reader's perspective. Because as a writer, you already know everything that's going on in the story, you know how each character thinks and feels, you know what might happen in the sequel, you know what to hint to, that kind of thing. Readers don't. They are looking at this with fresh eyes, they are going into this completely blind. Hopefully you've given them a premise for something to work with, like a verbal blurb or something like that. But yeah, they're going into this completely blind, so if something doesn't look or read right, they're going to have a better understanding because they're looking at it with such fresh eyes, whereas you have spent God knows how long being stuck with this story, writing it inside and out. A beta reader is someone whose feedback you need in order to redraft your story in a way that works, and a way that other readers can then look at it and think, yes, this is a well-written story. They are not editors. Editing is a whole other different ballgame. Beta readers are someone who takes on a form of editing in order to review your story and see what you need to improve on before you send it to an editor. That is a very big responsibility, and now I feel guilty about putting some of my friends through this. So now we're moving on to the pros and cons of beta readers.
So now the pros of getting a, oh my god.
So the pros of getting a beta reader. There are many to choose from, and I do actually think that every writer needs a beta reader. I mean, there's no excuse you need a beta reader. One of the main cons, I suppose, for me personally, is that it builds your confidence and it gets you over that hurdle of, oh god, someone is going to be reading my work. Well, yes, you're a writer, you hopefully want to publish, so there are going to be many people out there reading your work, but it's so daunting and you never quite get over that fear of, oh god, someone is going to read something that has come from my head and they might judge me. Yes, I'm going to tell you now, they will judge, because that is their job as readers, to judge what is a good book for them and what isn't. You do it yourself. But yeah, one of the main pros of finding a beta reader, or many beta readers, is that you do get over that hurdle of, that anxiety of letting people see what you've created and read your work. And it's such... I still get nervous whenever I'm like, hey, do you mind reading over this, or can I read this out to you and see what you think? You get that little anxiety claw around your throat, and it doesn't get any easier, but it does get over with faster. So when you actually have a beta reader that is there to read everything, it gets that anxiety with over faster, because you're just like, okay, thank you, here you go. I'm gonna run away for a while you read that. Good luck to you. And then you don't have to worry. I lie, you are still worrying. This is sounding a lot more like a con than a pro, but I promise it is a pro, because people are out there reading your work and you have an idea of what to do afterwards. And that, my shoulder clicked, I'm sorry, it is a pro. Another pro is that you get the feedback. You get to have a look at things from a reader's perspective, and you get to see it with a whole new layer of fresh eyes, where you just have, you know, maybe there's a few little grammar things here and there, but then you get to see, you know, that's the thing, beta readers aren't always there to fix grammar. If they do, then that is also a bonus, thank you. But they are also there to see how the story reads, how the flow and pacing and characters merge together, and you get to have that feedback of, does it work or does it need work? Because that is valuable information that you might not get from an editor, because they are mostly there to make sure that it's going to fit a demographic, if the grammar and spelling is done right, that kind of thing. Whereas with beta readers, you get that raw, direct approach, where it's mostly focused on what your priorities are, which is the story, the characters, and the pacing. More pros on beta readers. You can have as many as you want. There is no limit. If you have friends that want to read your book, if you have family members that want to read your book, and you know that they are going to give you an honest opinion, then by all means send that sucker to anyone who wants it. And then you get all these different layers of feedback from so many different people who all have different tastes, and you can... There's no such thing as pleasing everybody. So if one person absolutely adores a scene where another person thinks that it just wasn't working, you're not going to be able to keep the scene and cut it out at the same time. So you're going to have to make some decisions on that one. But at least you're getting more opinions, and you're getting more feedback and advice, and it can be a little bit of a cluster truck in there at first, but when you slowly whittle things down to see which is actually going to work better for your story based on all of these bits of advice and information, you're going to have so much to work with, and it's going to be great. There are still many pros of beta readers, but I've kind of jumbled them up into those 3 points, because I'm a clever person. But we do have to move on to the cons, otherwise this video is going to be way too long. Cons of beta readers. None. See, now, beta readers as a whole, as a topic, there are no cons. There are no cons to beta readers, theoretically. There are cons with the people you choose to be beta readers, but that is completely a personality person thing, which I can't judge, because I can't judge every single beta reader that ever is, was, or has, or will be. Beta readers as a topic, no cons. You should get yourself beta readers. You need to get yourself beta readers, and you need to get over that hurdle of showing people your work. It is terrifying, I know, I'm still terrified of it, but damn it, things have to be done. However, as I said, in those areas there can be not necessarily cons, but issues, and it all depends on the person. So for example, if a beta reader is taking a longer time than you would have liked to read your story, and you kind of want to get moving along, but you can't because, like, hey, have you finished the whole thing yet? No, I started reading a few pages and then I completely forgot, I'm sorry. Then it's kind of like, okay, great. But for example, if a beta reader turns around and you're like, hey, have you finished this chapter I sent you? Oh, I haven't because work has been crazy, but I'm making arrangements so that I can power through and take a good look at it on the weekend. Is that okay? Yep, sure, no worries. Work is work. We all gotta do it. It's fine. It all depends on the person, and sometimes the feedback you get isn't always what you want. So if you're really concerned about how a conversation between two characters are going, or the pacing of an action scene, and they're just like, oh, this guy and that one line was really funny, or classic, yeah, it was good. Why? Why was it good? How was it good? Tell me more, please. I need more. I need details. I need something, please. But that is all down to you and who you choose. So when you pick your beta readers, you do have to be very firm but fair. Like parenting, I assume. There needs to be a level of understanding. When you give someone your work to read so that you can get feedback, you need to make sure they understand that you can't wait forever. If you want to put a time limit on it, give a reasonable time limit. Don't say, here, I'm gonna give you this 30 chapter manuscript, I don't know, I'm gonna give you this brick of a book and I want you to have it finished and have good feedback for me in less than a week. Mate, no, that's not going to happen. People have work, people have lives, and if you're going to give them that kind of time limit, then you are just going to have a stress head on your hands as well as the stress head in your own head. Not happening. So you need to be understanding of people's lives and their routines and what is going on with them. So if you give them a big brick of a book and then say that you want it in a certain amount of time, make sure it's a reasonable amount of time. Maybe give them a month. And I know waiting a month for feedback is a very daunting thought, but everybody does have stuff to do. And if you want good, decent feedback that you can work with, then you do kind of need to work with them as well. At the end of the day, you just need to be clear with your beta readers and be fair and just be honest with them, because if you're all of those things to them, then they're going to be all of those things to your work. Now, how do we find beta readers? Look around, they are everywhere. There are websites you can find where you can send your work to people and they can give advice. Friends and family are a godsend, and I know that's probably worse than sending it to a stranger because they know you and you see them often, so they can judge you more, and in a way that is a good thing because at least you know that they are going to be honest with you and sometimes a bit brutal, but that's what you need in order to edit and fix the damn thing. And you don't always have to send the entire book to beta readers. So something that my one beta reader, and I will put her information down below because as well as being my beta reader, she is an amazing artist and an incredible hard worker, and I think she deserves more credit, so pay some tribute to Meghanisms and her incredible work. See, I am planning on letting more friends and family see my work, but for them I will be waiting until the whole thing is finished, or at least the first or second draft is finished, because I see them more often, so I'm more likely to be like, hey, here's the whole thing, hope you like it. Whereas with Meghanisms, I live in a different country to her. I'm in the UK and she's in America, so there is a bit of a big chunk of a time difference, and things can be a bit tricky. I started doing this during NaNoWriMo. I sent her one chapter at a time, so every time I finished a chapter, I would look over it and then send it off to her, and she has been reviewing a chapter at a time, and she has been giving me some good advice, which I have been saving up and I will use when I go over to do my first big edit when it's all finished. And it's good in a way because I'm not overwhelmed with a huge chunk of information at once. She's not overwhelmed with an entire story to power through and then try and get back to me when there's not only, you know, jobs and lives to lead, but a time difference and a massive friggin' ocean between us and chatting over Facebook and stuff like that. So there are many ways to go about beta reading. If getting a beta reader. There are many ways to go about it. There are many cons to go, there are many pros to go with it. And the only cons you're going to find is dependent on the person that you're working with. But that is something for you to deal with. Firm, fair and honest, and they'll be honest, fair and firm to you. Should you get beta readers? Yes, absolutely. More the merrier. It is going to help you. Pros of beta reading? You get honest reviews from a reader's perspective, and you don't get that anywhere else. You don't get that from an editor, you don't get that from yourself. Do it. Cons, the only real cons you're going to find are dependent on the person, but as I said, you deal with that one. There are many ways to go about it. You can either send the whole thing, or just chapters at a time, or just segments to see what you think about this, that and the other. Just make sure you give context. Yes, context. And what is the difference between a beta reader and an ARC reader? That is a video for another day, my friends, because I have not gotten to the ARC reader stage yet, and I might do what I know about ARC readers in a video, or I might just wait until I'm actually at the point to need ARC readers. I'm not sure yet. Let me know what you guys think. And yep, this video has gotten long enough already, and I have rambled for way too long. Are we surprised? No! Okay, so I guess the long and short of this video is you need beta readers. They are going to be a lifesaver. So I will see you guys in the next video. Happy writing to you all out there, and I will see you soon. Bye.